This is Pinyon Pines, California, a desert community in the mountains above Palm Springs. We're here to find out who would want to murder a family of three. A long drive up a desert mountain road. It is really pretty here. And is Pinyon Pines that way?
Straight ahead, 17 miles.
A seemingly tranquil stretch of highway leading back through time to one very dark place. This is where the tracks ended?
Yeah, in fact, you can still see the police tape from the crime scene. First time I've seen this. Wow.
You can't tell now through all the rust and concrete, but not long ago, this was the location of a slaughter.
Whatever she saw, it scared the hell out of her.
She was targeted, she was posed, she was set on fire.
My sister's like old baby dolls laying on the ground, and you think about all the times that you had. With the people that you loved that were no longer there anymore.
Before the ashes, before the flames.
Looks like you guys are getting married.
Becky Friedley, her mom Vicki Friedley, and mom's boyfriend John Hayward were living high above California's Coachella Valley in a secluded neighborhood called Pinyon Pines.
My mom was a free spirit. She was a hippie at heart. She really had such a kind heart.
And at 53 years old, that kind hippie heart seemed full.
My sister seemed devoted to John. He was a very good father, and it seemed like everything was peaceful.
Then there was the youngest of Vicki's four daughters, Becky Friedley. And if there was one thing about Becky,
the first thing that pops out of everyone's mouth is how funny she was.
She was a live wire. She embraced life with both arms outstretched.
Super fun, bubbly. She was, every room she relished in being the loudest, funniest person there, always.
And in many ways, after Becky's mom divorced her biological father, Ron, she seemed to be the glue that held the scattered family together. But it wasn't always easy to stay connected living in Pinyon Pines, miles above the city where the average number of bars on any cell phone was 0.
We used to joke about when we were younger that, you could literally stand in her front door and yell and the neighbors can't hear you.
Now, not such a joke. If there were any screams that night, no one heard them. Just the howl of the fire engines hours later.
And my mom called me, and she told me there's been a fire at your sister's house. So I remember thinking, maybe Vicki left the oven on, or thinking maybe they're not home.
But it was no accident, and everyone was home. Inside the smoldering ruins of the house, investigators find the charred remains of 2 bodies. Vicki Friedley has been shot in the head with a .40 caliber handgun. Beside her, Vicki's boyfriend John lay dead from a shotgun blast to the chest.
It was very violent. It was just shocking.
And it got worse. Outside of the home, found burning in an old wheelbarrow, was the lifeless body of 18-year-old Becky Friedley, too badly burned to determine her exact cause of death. 3 lives reduced to ashes in one night.
I was devastated. I think I just cried uncontrollably. I couldn't think straight. I just wanted answers. I wanted to know what happened.
Shortly after the triple homicide, sheriff's deputies questioned one of their own, a former deputy retired just the year before, Vicki's ex-husband, Ron Friedley.
My mom married Ron when I was 6. Once she married Ron, he got a job as a deputy sheriff, and we packed up and we moved.
Ron had actually built that house in Pinyon Pines with his own hands, and with another man living there with his ex-wife, some couldn't help but wonder. Ron was questioned by police and reportedly even passed a polygraph, but some still thought there might be a connection.
I think the biggest thing in my mind was that Ron had arrested someone previously that really held a grudge against him, got out of prison, thinking he still lived there, and then came up and killed whoever was there.
Police looked into that theory as well as a possible drug connection with boyfriend John. But as investigators dug a little deeper, it became disturbingly clear that there was really only one intended target.
Well, I think Becky was the focus of this homicide. It was very likely that John and Vicky were collateral damage.
Private investigator Luis Bolaños, who used to work on the force with Ron and knew the Friedleys well, had been following the case since day one.
Why do you say that Becky was the intended target of this crime?
They put Becky in a wheelbarrow in front of the house, and in a place at the end of the driveway. We call that posing. And the purpose of posing that is to send a message, makes it really personal, to first responders, to the family, that was our target. We weren't here for John and Vicky, but Becky was our target.
And for those who knew Becky best, there were more reasons to believe this crime was all too personal.
When she was young, maybe 3, 4 years old, she ran into her sister in the kitchen who was carrying a pan of oil, like burning oil, and it spilled over her chest. So Becky had burn scars all the way down her chest. And that was something that everyone that knew her knew about her burn and her scars.
Daniela and many others say the incident left Becky with a well-known lifelong fear of being burned.
So then what do you make of the fact that she was set on fire?
That was a direct hit for Becky.
It was an attack on her.
Yes.
So then, who was her attacker? Police questioned a number of people, but no arrests were made. No progress, it seemed, at all.
A year and a half, the case went cold, just stopped.
But why do you think this case grew cold so fast?
I don't understand why it grew cold. I don't think it should have.
And he wasn't the only one. Just how mysterious was this mystery after all?
It took me all but 30 minutes. As soon as I found out that it was a homicide, I knew.
Coming up,
Waiting for my precious boyfriend.
Say hi, Robert.
Hi, guys.
fresh eyes take another look at the case and uncover shocking new details.
At the scene where they caught Becky, someone dropped a business card. And on that business card, they found DNA.
And
When's the last time you saw her?
True.